What's up, y'all? Dr. Miller here. I haven't done a review in a while and thought I'd put one together. Just had a few minutes. I'm trying to make more videos. I always say that, but anyway, nonetheless, book review for you. This one is a book I thought did some things really well. It's an older book. By the time I'm recording this, I'm 6 years behind. But one of the many peak books. So there's a lot of books saying like peak performance, etc. And this is one that on Amazon has a lot of interest. It was published in 2019, and I'll just go ahead and go to the book here so you can see it. You can see published here by Dr. Marc Bubbs. Hope I'm saying that right. Again, published in 2019. New Science of Athletic Performance that is revolutionizing sport. And again, this is, as fast as things are moving, when it comes to science of sports training, and obviously this book is older, but I wanted to read it just because it had so much interest. You can see the rating there and how many people had read it. Was kind of curious to see about it myself. So here is my honest review of this book, whether I think it's worth your time or not, and some of the issues I have with it. So let's start with the first two things, the two main things that I had a problem with. You may not, but these are the things, and it sounds really harsh, but one of them is a little bit annoying. I'll be honest with you, and the other one maybe not so much. But what are those things? The first one was the topics in the book. Now, this is also why the book was made, and I'm going to highlight some of the strengths of the book, which are many. The book was very broad, and if you've the area of sports science, and as the author correctly identifies, like performance and health, man, has a broad topic, and so he took on a big task in trying to cover not only those two constructs, but also then across all these different dimensions of nutrition, of sports performance physiology, of recovery, of psychology, gut health, brain health. I mean, it's a very comprehensive book. It's an attempt to be a comprehensive book. And that'll also play. So I think it's a weakness in the sense that it was easy for the author, and if I wrote this book, it'd be easier for me to wander into away from the performance side. So there's times when it really took more of a health bent, and I get the point that he was trying to tie health to performance, that we're dealing with human beings, and I appreciate that holistic approach. You can tell that's his background, which I agree with 100%. Instead of reductionistic approach was more holistic. But that's a challenge because in the book, you can wander a little bit. So if you're looking for like a book that gets right to the point when it comes to performance, this book struggles a little bit at times. Again, the author clearly delineates performance and health, though. So to be fair, that was, kind of heads up, right? The author had a clear goal with this book, and I think it was, if anything, it was just more of an impossible task with one book. The other thing that I found particularly annoying is all the Darwinian evolution references. Some of them are just absurd. We develop REM sleep because we can sleep on the ground and we're not chimpanzees. And because, just some of it, it's hard to hear. And the constant reference to the Darwinian evolution stuff and the stories from that are just, again, it's easier just to believe in a creator than to go down those roads. So that's one of my critiques. If you really listen with a critical ear, especially when talking about sleep and some of these other sections in the book, the stories are really far-fetched. If I told you that story in their context, you'd kind of raise an eyebrow at that. All right, so those are the two main things that I found problematic. Again, the first one is kind of the point of the book too. The one being that the topic was almost too broad, but I think that highlights the difficulty in trying to nail down optimal performance and health. Is that the little video series I put up, parts of it that I put up in terms of a wellness class that I had put together, football wellness class, because I explored all these areas as well, and how each one of them, it's economics or nutrition, politics, all these things affect our health. It's too hard to use a reductionist approach to say this is the one reason why people aren't healthy, and the same with this book. And so he highlights correctly, what he calls the expert generalist. If you've seen my review on Range, which is a book about generalists versus specialists, I think he really does a good job of reinforcing that idea, is that in the area of sports performance, this is why many times I think some people in academia may mean it as an insult, but exercise science is considered applied science. And the point is, though, is that we are generalists, that we take from all these different areas, like the book highlights, and try to develop a plan and a way of thinking about performance or health or both that is effective for an individual, because human beings are not siloed. You don't just have nutrition without training, and you don't have training without psychology and so forth. Okay. So that's the strength of the book, is I think he does as best as he could. I couldn't write a book like this. It was just too much. The fact he could even trim down what he did is, well done. The chapters are organized by these different areas, whether that's nutrition, I mentioned psychology, whether it's training. At the end, talks about brain health, and then, more of the behavioral, even pulling in some things about youth athletes and things like that. So does a good job throughout. I think if you're looking for a holistic book, and a book that may not go, because that's not the point of the book, is it won't go extraordinarily deep on any one topic, but give you what was at the time in 2019 the latest and greatest in each one of these areas, I think this is a good book. If you're looking to learn more about a specific area of peak performance, like optimizing peak nutrition, which the nutrition part of this book is probably the biggest, I think you could find other books that will drill a little deeper. This might be a great book to start with and get kind of the lay of the land. And then as you have areas that you're really interested in or have more questions, like certainly performance training in this book is lacking, like the strength training portion, how to do that effectively. And there's mention of it in some of the, of course, but again, this is not the point of the book. So I would consider this like a generalist general book. And then you could specialize in each one of these areas. So, overall, I think a good book, especially at 6 years old. I still think it has some really, I had some things in there that I wanted to follow up with, in the area of nutrition specifically. This was, when the keto boom was really starting as well. And so he does a good job of addressing that. And I think does a nice job of balancing, not making keto the way to do things, but also not excusing. So, or not just dismissing it. So, I think that's the right approach to any of these ideas, is that they're tools. There's some obvious wrong ways maybe to do things all the time. Like not to eat is a bad idea. In fact, that's addressed in the book, right? But for the most part, maybe a keto diet is effective during certain days of during the week, athlete, maybe during certain meals, and you highlight some of those as well. And some of it got a little garbled at times, but again, he's trying to tackle a lot of information as a generalist, and I commend him for that in a holistic way. I don't think it's a bad book at all. But it's a tough task. And I think this is probably, I couldn't do it. So hats off to Dr. Bubbs. I don't know him, but hats off to him and the attempt he made. So again, if you're looking for a decent book to get some, I think even now, even 6 years later, some good information about nutrition and general stuff across the board. You may not get a lot in teams. He mentioned this as well. A lot of it, a lot of the research too is in endurance athletes. So you're going to get more of an endurance look at things. Primarily doesn't mean it's only, it just means that's what you're going to get as a result of the research literature. He's reflecting the research literature, which is, especially in the nutrition side, which is almost primarily, heavily slanted toward endurance sport, just because it's easier to study. 2025, when I'm recording this, there's a lot more in the team sport area, but there's still a lot more to discover. There's so many variables when it comes to human physical sports performance. Then, having coached for however many years it's been, and the recovery side, he does a good job on that as well. There's just a lot to talk about. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Just a quick review this time. Check it out. Be worth your time, and I'll keep reading books and keep providing reviews. I hope you find them helpful. Subscribe and like the video. I'm hoping to put more videos soon. As a sidebar, if you are in the northern Oklahoma City area, I'm doing some speed strength training, coaching during the summer times in particular at a baseball facility up there. If you want to reach out to me through this channel, let me know. I can kind of let you know what I'm up to. I just love coaching. It's too hard to get away from, even though I'm in academia most of the time, and I don't have the barbell club anymore, which is still going strong. Thank you, Coach Frimpong. It's still going strong in Oklahoma City, but I can't stay away from coaching. It's too hard. So if there's mostly young kids, but mostly baseball, softball players up to any age. Give me a holler. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.